everybody. I wanted to give you some quick video feedback. Um, I'm really thrilled with the accomplishments of this particular class this month. Really, really great. I'm going to look at these sites as a first-time site visitor. Okay, so we get that feeling for how the user is going to go through your site, even if I've looked at it before. That's how that's the perspective that I'm coming to your site with. It's not a lecture. There may be some ums. Some students don't mind that. They like to hear the thought process. If you don't like it, shoot me an email, and I will edit those. Anyway, here we go. And I love the colors here. They do work with the logo. The logo could be bigger, a little bigger, about almost an inch would be just right. But the colors you've picked up are really looking good. Go ahead and take the login off. You can delete that. If you feel it's too bare over here, you can either put your navigation over here or you can move this to the center. You want to make sure this is in your header. A little hard. I think it is. We'll see. You don't usually need a logo twice on the same page, but this is working. This is, let's see, I'm going to use an extension, a Chrome extension called What Font. And if I'm in Chrome, I can select any font on a website and it will tell me about it. So this is 15 points and we want at least 16. And I'll go a little further and let you know that Avenir Light is a small font. So I would go a little bigger than 16. All right. So that's what we have here. And it looks like this is probably the same. And I will try, okay, it's 13. Yeah, I thought it was small. So you want to definitely pick that up in size 2. The same as this one, make it the same. But visually, it's looking terrific. Okay, I like the way you've bordered things. So great job there. I will try and pick up the speed because I know you don't necessarily want to have me drone on about things. This is larger, and you've got just the right amount, it looks like. If you wanted to cut a line here, it'd be great for them to have the same number of lines in a paragraph. It's just added greatness. It doesn't mean you have to. I would say this is successful. The navigation, I like the look of it. It probably needs to go up just a little for readability and functionality. Okay, I would probably left align this and this. And I'll tell you something else if anybody needs this. Monday and Wednesday are the same locations. Tuesday and Thursday are the same. So if you want to combine Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, if you need that extra space, then that's one place where you can do that. This is looking great. Your hierarchy is good. And I do like to give this in group because it helps when people can see someone else's work. Let's capitalize your location here. Okay, looking good. This is often missed. Okay, this is a placeholder line, so make sure you catch that. If you want, you can edit this down to where these are all the same number of rows. It's just a good thing to aim for in this situation because you're, have pretty much control over this. A client, you would have to certainly run that by them. Capitalize the C here. Interesting. You've got your drinks kind of mixed in. And you've gone and found some images. Great. Try to avoid glassware because it's a food truck, right? And okay, I think we want to capitalize fish and taco, and I think we want to move that into your mains. Usually the main is up above, but I'll let you work through that. It's looking great. This is going to pick up whatever you have, right? It wasn't required. If it gets too cluttered in your pages and menu in your editor, you can hide it, or remove it because it isn't required. And all these things are easy to add if you don't use it right now. Let's refrain from tiling logos. Okay. Yeah, we are very careful with the client's logo. In many cases, it will crop, and in this situation, it usually does. Okay, so let's not do that. And I think you can see what, something needs to happen here. It looks like maybe you ran out a little time. So yeah, you'll work on some of those things, apply some hierarchy, and you can always search images. There are plenty of fun images online if you want to do that. All right, but mainly removing that tiling and, spacing this out. Your headers seem to be consistent. Well, that one is it's different, but that's fine. Let's see. Okay, you do want to have consistent font for your headers and things. If it's all caps, make it all caps. And again, you can see how this overlaps here. So let's remove that. Even the plain simple gradient blue is fine. You can put the icons, you don't have to put the links. And otherwise, it's looking really good. Form, you can disable that, take that off. Okay, we don't need it. And we don't want to have any empty pages on any website, all right? So great job. Love what you just have a few edits, really, just a little more time on it. And after this week, you're working on your professional site. You're going to be flying through that because you know what you're doing now. And then you're going to apply for next week your revisions for your Real Deal Taco and polish that off. So I'm anxious to see what that's going to look like. All right, and let's see. Let's capitalize down here and make sure it's DEAL. Okay, these are things that happen all the time. Our bar, make sure, glassware, we're a food truck. A little larger again on the logo. Okay, make sure you're checking out that spelling. But otherwise, that works. And this may not have happened on your version. Maybe you had a different screen. But we want to make sure that we're not overlapping buttons. And drop-down menus are a real big one. They sometimes tend to do that. Reservations we don't have. So let's just delete those. You can delete that on your dashboard under Manage Apps if you're having trouble taking it off. Let's highlight some hierarchy here, right? Rotating schedule so we can kind of tell. But other than that, and a little hard to read, you could probably make it bigger. This is a case where I would combine Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, so you can get a larger size here, which will bring your header up too. That's going to need to be bigger. And same thing, it's so tempting to put text over images, but we can't ordinarily. It has to drop back a lot. And this one you can see doesn't actually, it's a raster image, right? It's like a Photoshop image. This is, it's not an Illustrator file, which would be a scalable vector graphic, because what happens is between the vertices, in your vector graphic, it's mathematical. So it adjusts your size no matter how big it is, no matter how small you go, your image is going to be sharp, right? Because between those points, it's calculating. Okay, but that doesn't happen with a Photoshop or raster file. Okay, so just a little more info on that. And do delete this background if you need to. Go into your navigation in your editor, and the fourth one down, the fourth icon down, is your site design, and you could probably delete that in the background of the template if you're not able to change it by selecting the background and changing it. Let's center your icons here, and let's link them up. The client provided links for that. And I would put this on one line, open hours somehow, rather than two, because we do want it to be as aligned as possible. And again, remove the order online for this, but I think you've got a terrific start here. Very little that needs to be done at this point. Okay, take some time. It's not hard or stressful if we can set enough time aside. Then it can be fun. It's very stressful otherwise. But I will tell everybody this: you can submit your link and meet the due date, the deadline, and then you can continue to work on it. As long as you're working on the same site, the link isn't going to change, and I'm not going to know the difference, all right, until I jump in and grade, which, I try not to grade at midnight when it's some project this size, all right? Okay, and next, all right, interesting. Okay, Scott, good. We'll see about this temple, but I think you can bring this down a little bit. This is actually, I think, the template I know it's the font my daughter chose when she took this program, the MC program. Okay, nice, and you're using the blue, all good. And the logo, navigation is very clear, easy to read, you're all linked up. I like that they're all the same shape. Sometimes we get different ones. I like to use the all black and white for those. You've been consistent with your headers. Terrific. The hierarchy is definitely there. Not a lot of scrolling, and yet you were able to separate all these. So really good. And I like that you use the map in this way. Okay. Let's see. Oh, you've got testimonials as a drop down. I'm not going to say anything about that yet because so far everything's working out. I do want to double check and make sure I'm viewing at actual size, and I am. Then I'm going to check size of this font. Yeah, again, it's Avenir Light, and it is one of my favorites. I think it just needs to be slightly bigger. And I love the illustration. Love it. Look what you've done here. We have to be careful, however, with logos. We can never alter them in any way. Clients are really protective of them, and they're one of the biggest parts of their brand. So that would have to be smaller, right? Okay. But you've done a fantastic job. Fantastic. Everything has got breathing room. It's laid out and aligned. Terrific. Again, check your sizes. Be consistent with whichever one you land on as far as the size. Super great. Super great. All right. We do want to close up this space. Okay. Nice. Very well done. I don't know that you have much at all for your revision. Let's see. You have the testimonials under the about. I'm not a fan of drop downs because they often cover content, but this seems fine. And you're consistent with the font, consistent number of rows. We try not to have one word on the line, but that one's working. This one has two, but it's okay. And you can delete this. You can say, Amelia, and make up a name for this particular one if you want, so we don't have two. That's just, the privilege of being a student. All right, we'll look at the next one. Okay, let's see. We've got a little animation there. This we have to be careful just because of that first one, making sure that the resolution is there. That's fine that you put 2024, and these are linked. Okay. Oh, we have them again. Are they linked? I don't think so. Yeah, maybe just photos here. And I would go a little darker, maybe, on the background. A little darker blue. Maybe make this a little larger. Take up a little more space so we don't have quite so much empty space there. I think you can go a little larger on your navigation. I would make it blue, the color of, the logo, trying not to introduce too many new colors. If we stick with 2 colors when you're working on a brand or a project, that's usually the best. Okay, so moving ahead. Okay. I will tell you something about ovals. They're really hard to design with, and I tell everybody that. And you can see it's hard to center, get them in the same place. It's hard to get the same amount of padding, the same shape. It's just something to remember as you move forward in your career. This might be centered. I'm not sure this is, or maybe this is what isn't centered, but you know, try and center them. If you put an S, maybe that'll help. But yeah, okay. Maybe take a little space out there. Okay, we found some images. Okay. Is this the same? This, okay, we want to have your headings be the same font. So this is a different font from this and this. So we want all of those to be the same. And probably some alignment here. Either all on one row or all in a couple of columns rather than something in the middle. Okay. And I think you're okay. Maybe close this up just a little. Make sure that this, I think I already mentioned this to you, make sure there's nothing covering that. Okay. Let's left align paragraph text. And I'm not sure these need to be here, simply because we have these here. Now maybe if you made this a narrow column and you put these over here, but being placed over by themselves is breaking up kind of what you've got going on, which is really kind of nice. And again, maybe close that up a little bit, raise your footer up a little. You could put about, it probably needs a header. There's some space here. So we need to take some of that out. Okay, I bring these in a little bit, right? It's possible that it works, but when you resize, but I think that those need to come in. And I like what you've got over here, right? So I think we need to highlight those a little more than the testimonials even. You're not required to put the testimonials in as far as I'm concerned. But I like what you've done with your images. And I believe you can check me on this, but I believe if it's more than 3 words, it's going to be capitalized, although this is not necessarily a noun or adjective, so maybe not. But you also want to check, make sure that we don't have any line breaks right there, okay? And I wanted to see, yeah, you can fix that. Bring that up here. All right. But you have everything that I can see. I think you've got everything, right? Just a little more time, and that's really normal because you guys have learned a lot in a short period of time. And I will tell you, you can, at about this time, about week 3, you can start making money making sites. Even if you've never made one before. I've seen students do it. They aren't even the top tier students, and they're somewhere downtown, working on their site, and somebody who has a restaurant or something has just opened something, sees them, and before you know it, they've got a job. And they say, sure, I can do it. So I've seen it too many times. So you can totally do that. You can start making a little money on the side. Try and have just one logo per page in this respect, certainly per section. It looks good, as long as we have a reason for it. We've got that. It needs to be hooked up. And you'll need the disclaimer down there. Okay. A little bit of space above. I know sometimes it can get tricky. but you can do it. Remove the login, just delete it, select it and delete it in your editor. Delivered. Okay, again, we don't need this many of these. Center, it's the story that's not centered, which would be fine if you want to bring this column out a little bit, which you would need to because you've got quite a bit. You could take out a couple of paragraphs. Now here's something that happens when we enter text. It happens all the time. Double check this and make sure there's spacing, right? Because we have to go in and fix some of the returns and spacing. Occasionally that happens. So that's something you'll have to go in and look at. And again, linking. I do like how clean it is. I think this font probably needs to go just a little bigger. Let's look at it. Okay. I can't use my font reader because we're in the get feedback link, and the reason is this link worked and the other one I wasn't able to get working. And I will tell you, when you get to web design, the reason I have you submit this, and I don't have you submit it right now, because you're not responsible for your mobile in editing for the web, but when you get to web design you will be. And so I try to get you in the practice of submitting your get feedback link so that I can look at your mobile, right, when you get to working on your own professional site in web design. But this month you are not required to have that. I just wasn't able to pull the site up from the other link, so I can't check this, but I can see it needs to be scaled up a little bit. Okay, and we want headers so we can, see for sure. So there's a little bit of time spacing and tweaking the menu items there. But everybody's links are working really great, a little bit bigger. The images look great on black here. Okay. Okay. All right. That loaded a little slowly. And again, ovals are really tough to work with. This is a placeholder, so I would get rid of that. I know it came with the page, the contact page probably. And it's easier just to add another page, a contact page here, and take this off, and then work with this and work with your location information here. Right, for this page, just use this. Go to your pages and menu, add a contact, and work with that, and taking this off of the location page and taking this off the location. All right. And yeah, looks like you ran out of time a little bit, so you want to work with your text there. All right, so I can't tell you how pleased I am with how well everybody's doing, and I can't wait to see what you produce this weekend. Let me know if you have any questions whatsoever. You can, right now there's just 5 of you in this particular group if you need to text me, but as long as it's not a phone message, because those don't work very well. But you can always send me a question throughout the assignment feedback, and you can also arrange to have a one-on-one Zoom if you need it. All right, everybody, great job.